Hey guys, I'm back and I'm in the corner because I'm a bad boy. But anyway, sorry I didn't put up my whole background thing again, my patch panel, which I hope you guys are liking. I need 4 or 5 more of them to put all my patches up from every unit I've ever worked with or been in and all that stuff. But anyway, so I'm here to talk about the new knife rating system that I have, with the bare minimum of effort, come up with. Because if you recall, just a little while ago, I put a poll up on YouTube and asked if you guys wanted me to go back to the knife ratings, and overwhelmingly, you guys said yes. I say overwhelmingly in terms of the yes to no, because I don't know exactly how many people voted in that or anything. It could have been like 8 people, and like 6 of you said yes, and 2 said no. I don't know. But we're going back to the knife ratings as part of knife unboxing and reviews, because I personally think it adds a little value to it, a little bit, and apparently 6 out of 8 of you do too as well. So we're going to be doing it. We're going to be changing it up just a little bit, and it's been so long since I did it, and it is sheer laziness that I stopped doing it, is the only reason. But I don't know if you guys remember, it was a little bit too in the weeds, in the sky, I think. With some categories that really, I wanted to reduce it to make the math a little bit make more sense, and I wanted the categories to flow in more of a natural kind of style, and something that was a little bit more intuitive and made a little bit more sense as we're looking at the knives. So basically I wanted to put in more than the bare minimum effort, is what I'm saying. So here's what I came up with, and I absolutely welcome your input, your constructive criticism. Ugh, talking is hard. Any suggestions and stuff. I'm not saying I'm going to change it, but I am certainly open to suggestions you guys have, because I am going to start right after this my first. I have the Onyx box from Monthly Knife Club, so that's going to be my very first review, getting back to having ratings. So we'll see, but I want to run this by you guys. I want you guys to know before you see that review, like how the new ratings, how it flowed through my this is what my brain looks like. If you could see it in operation, how things are connected, it would look like this. But how it goes. So I will throw a hard copy in this area next to me so you can kind of track, but it makes more sense to me. It's a little simplified, and hopefully it makes sense to you guys as we go. So the first thing we look at, we take the knife out of the box, we talk about the quality of materials, which was on there before, but I think it was in a different position from number 1, or maybe it was. But that's the first thing, because when you look at a knife, when you see a knife, when you read the description of a knife, the first thing that pops out at you is like, what kind of steel is it made of? What is the handle material made of? What are the scales? Things like that. And that speaks a lot to the price of the knife and the quality. We say like, hey, if it's 8CR13, why is it that much? If it's just a solid steel frame as opposed to like anodized titanium or aluminum, something, why does it cost that much? So the first thing we're going to look at is the quality of materials that go into the knife, and this sometimes is the biggest debated aspect of a knife, and material X versus material A. But that's going to be the very first thing we look at. The next is, again, as I take it out of the box, as I look at it, the fit and finish. Usually I do this before I even open the knife and hold it. Okay, so the fit and finish, and that is how is it put together? Are the scales cut and shaped evenly? Are the screws countersunk and placed evenly across, or are there some sticking up at different heights than others? Sometimes that is intentional, by the way, but I'm talking about in general purposes. Is the milling nicely done, or does it look very rough? It's basically, so fit and finish, how is the knife put together? Does it look professionally put together, nicely put together, or does it look like a slap-ass, half-done job? Okay. Next, we get the knife out, we open it up. How does it feel in our hands? Comfort and feel, because this is very important. So, things we look at visually first on the knife when we take it out of a box or a package, and now we put it in our hands. And let's face it, for most people, if it doesn't feel good past this point, we're not even the knife doesn't get past this point, right? So comfort and feel is very important. But the reason it's not the number 1 thing is because when you see a knife in a case, or you see a knife in a catalog online, or you even get it out of the package, the first thing is not how it feels in your hand. The first thing is you're looking at that listing for what is it made of, what are the materials, and then you're looking at how is it put together. So that's how I came up with that flow from quality of materials to fit and finish. Now, how comfortable does that knife feel in your hand? And we're going to talk about that. Right. After that, we talk about the function and mechanics. So you put it in your hand. How does it feel? Now, let's open and close it a few times. Let's talk about the clip. Is the clip too rough, too loose? Does it feel good? And the mechanical aspects of how it's designed and put together. We can talk about that. After we sort out the mechanical issues or non-issues as it may be, let's talk about the production standards. Let's talk about the out-of-the-box standards. We get this thing out of the box, we put it through the paper, maybe a 550 cord, depending on what kind of knife it is, maybe some other sort of quick test or whatever, but production and out-of-the-box standards as it goes. So you see, I'm trying to make these ratings, these numbers flow kind of naturally as you would look at a new knife that might be in your hand, or you might be, just watching a video on. Convenient, works both ways. Next, practicality and utility. Okay, some knives, I get it, are just awesome to own. They are. But for a lot of us, I would tend to say most of us, we're going to use a knife that's in our hands. So what is the practical and usable factor of this knife? That's a big thing for a lot of us. So that comes next after we go through the other things of evaluating as it comes out. Next, and this might not be a big thing for a lot of us. I should say not a big thing for most of us, but it is big for a lot of us. What's the ease of maintenance? Okay, so yeah, I've got a great steel. I've got great, factory finish on it and everything. What if I need to resharpen that edge? What if I may, for some reason, need to take this thing apart, put it back together? Maybe I'm the kind of person that likes to if it's got washers, I like to polish my washers. What if what if, but specifically talking about edge maintenance and things like that. The ease of maintenance. Can somebody with just a year of experience, a novice, versus somebody with 10 years of experience, is there a big learning curve with this steel, with this knife, or whatever? Because that makes a difference. Somebody who doesn't have a lot of sharpening experience could buy a $150 knife, and guess what? That edge does go dull. Some steels are made to be tough in a different way, tough to withstand a lot of punishment, but that does mean that the edge goes duller a little faster than some other steels. There's a whole matrix on how steels are. Anyway, so ease of maintenance is a big factor for a lot of people. Next is the cool factor. So we talked about the practicality and usability first. Now we talk about the cool factor. So how cool is this knife? Because a lot of knife guys and knife gals want their fellow knife people to look at that knife and go, "Ooh, damn, that's cool. Let me check that out." And that is a factor. All right. Listen, there are military tools that I've used that are just like big, ugly pieces of metal, but they get the job done. And there are military, things that look sweet and beautiful and amazing. And you're like, that looks like it should do its job. You know what I mean? So the cool factor does matter. And we'll talk about the cool factor. We'll talk about how cool it looks. Or does it look like, just a big, ugly piece of metal, but damn, that ugly piece of metal does get the job done. And sometimes that's what's most important. Next is the collectability value. Some knives, listen, we're not buying them to do a big, massive job. We're buying them because we're going to put them away, and they're gonna be worth more money sometimes. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're buying a cheap ass knife because we are going to beat the hell out of it and just have it work until it breaks. Okay. Listen, again, there's a whole spectrum, whole matrix of knife usability, but the collectability does really matter with some higher end stuff, even with some lower end stuff that people never expected to be worth money later on. But what is the collectability value of the particular knife we're looking at? And is it prone to be worth more money later on if we baby it and take care of it, or is it just forget it, just go to town with it? It doesn't matter. Just have fun with it. And then finally, we have a value to price ratio. So there are some knives, like I said in the beginning, we look at and we're like, there's no way we should be paying this much for this knife. It's not worth it. And there are some that are very well priced for what you get, and the value that you get out of the money you put into it is spot on. It's there. There are some knives still that I look at, and I cannot believe the amount of knife that you get for the money you pay on both ends. Either you're paying way too much for the knife you get out of it, or there are some knives out there that, you know, it just turns out that you get so much more knife than you expected to for the money. So that's a big deal, especially if, you know, you're looking for budget-friendly knives. That value to price ratio can be a big factor to people. So that's kind of what we'll look at. And then finally, we'll give it an overall score. Now, I used to have 12 individual ratings, which was more to look at, but at the same time, it got a little wonky with the math, and we had like point, sometimes 3-4 numbers after the decimal. So it should make the math much easier this time, because the total highest score is 100, all right? Not 120. Weird. So the overall score, and then the average score, again, you know, so we can go back and compare these to each other, is going to be a nice easy number. But anyway, this is the new knife rating scale that we're going to be rolling with, and I'm going to really try hard to hold myself to doing it on every knife. Now, if there is one knife in a box of a lot of other stuff, you know, or there's there's multiple knives in a box, like let's say we have something like the Monthly Knife Club Ultimate, and they have 3 knives in it, I'm probably not going to do all the ratings. I might do just a quick separate, like a short or something, just showing the ratings on those knives. But that would get very tedious, I think, for you guys, especially, to have me go through all the ratings real quick. Maybe I could just do a quick screenshot showing the completed ratings just real fast without going through them and my methodology, because I explain how I get to each one. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But anyway, these are the new ratings. This is what we're going with. Overwhelmingly, you guys picked that you wanted me to get back to it, so I'm going to get back to it. Let me know what you think of these ones. The more simplified kind of list of things we're looking at, the way I sort of have it in my head flowing from opening the box to the end. If you think that works, it doesn't work. If there's a better way, things that you think I should be considering that I'm not considering, you know. The videos are for you guys, really. So tell me what you think. Tell me if this works for you. All right. Okay, so thanks for giving me your input on the ratings and bringing them back. I always appreciate your input on everything I do, because it helps me make the things you want to see. So thanks a lot, guys. Stand by for the first reintroduction of the ratings, and remember that you guys are all absolutely awesome, and I appreciate every single one of you. And I'll be back again real soon.